I didn't expect my summer to start with a coffin. Dad and I drove 6 hours into the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, to bury my grandfather in a cemetery that overlooked a wall of trees. The forest looked like something out of an old grim fairy tale. Dark, endless, watchful. After the service, Dad exhaled the way adults do when they're about to ruin your week. "Chris, we have to stay 2 more weeks. I need time to sell the house. 2 weeks in this dying town. No friends, no internet, no escape." Before we left the cemetery, he grabbed my shoulder. "And listen, don't go into the woods alone. Promise me." I promised. I didn't really understand why. The next morning, I wandered through the tiny town. 2 gas stations, a diner, a post office. That was it. Beyond the last house was nothing but mountains and forest. That's where I met him, a kid about my age, holding a fishing rod, mud on his shoes and hoodie. "You're not from around here," he said. "Is it that obvious?" He smirked. "Everything's obvious in Gray Pine. I'm Evan. We talked, we walked. Somehow we ended up by an old wooden fence marking the edge of town." "That's the line," Evan said. "Forest starts there." The trees felt heavy, like they were listening. "You ever go in?" I asked. Evan's smile faded. "No, not unless I have to. People say there's stuff in there." "What kind of stuff?" He hesitated, then whispered, "Monsters." I waited for him to laugh. He didn't. Over the next few days, we became friends the way kids do when they're isolated and bored. We played basketball behind the school. We explored old buildings. And one afternoon, I asked something stupid. "Hey, any town legends?" Evan looked at me like he had been waiting for me to ask. "There's a creature," he said quietly. "It comes once a year, not from here, from somewhere else. Like another dimension." He nodded slowly. My dad wrote about it in his diary. Before he disappeared. That made the hair on my arm stand up. He pulled out a small notebook, water-stained, pages warped. Inside were sketches of a figure with bent limbs and hollow eyes, warnings scrawled in messy handwriting. "When it crosses over," Evan said, "the weather changes. Rain, thick mist, that's how you know." "And you think this is real?" Evan looked away. "It rained yesterday, didn't it? And the mist came this morning." A chill went down my spine. "Why does it come here?" I asked. Dad wrote that its realm is full of treasure. If someone finds the portal, they can take anything they want. His voice cracked. My family could leave this town. That night, we made a plan. We entered the forest at 3 p.m. The light should have lasted hours, but something felt off the deeper we walked. The mist thickened, crawling between the trees like it had weight. My grandfather's old hunting rifle felt too heavy on my back. Evan moved fast, too fast, as if he knew exactly where he was going. "Slow down," I whispered. He didn't hear me, or pretended not to. Time stretched weirdly. I kept checking my watch. 3:28, 3:35, 3:41. The sky shouldn't have been that dark yet. Then, a branch snapped behind us. We both turned. Something moved in the fog. Something wrong. Limbs bending where limbs shouldn't be. A shape with eyes that reflected like wet stones. "It's here," Evan breathed. I lifted the rifle. It was the only thing that felt real in that moment. The creature hissed, low, metallic, trembling. Evan shouted something and ran toward it. I froze, heart pounding, unable to move. Fog swallowed him whole. I screamed his name. No answer. For 2 hours I searched, or at least it felt like 2 hours. My watch read 5:01 p.m., then 4:26 p.m., then 6:17 p.m. None of it made sense. Then, 2 gunshots, close enough to rattle the trees, far enough to feel wrong. I ran until I found him standing alone in a clearing, pale as chalk. "I got it," Evan said softly. His voice did not sound human. "What did you shoot?" You don't want to see. We kept the body in an abandoned hunting cabin near the forest edge. I refused to bring whatever he shot into my grandfather's house. Evan dragged a tarp inside without looking back at me. I couldn't see what lay under it. I didn't want to. The cabin was freezing cold. No wind, no animals, no sounds. When we tied the tarp shut, a foul smell leaked out, like metal and rot. Tomorrow, Evan whispered. We bury it tomorrow. His hands were shaking. We walked home in silence. 3 days Evan didn't come to my house the next morning. Or the next. On day 3, I couldn't ignore the feeling in my stomach anymore. Something was wrong. I walked to the cabin alone. The air was colder than usual, even for the forest. When I reached the door, it was hanging open. Inside, the tarp was torn apart, dragged across the floor. Something had clawed its way out and lying on the ground. Evan's red hoodie, torn in half. Next to it, my grandfather's hunting rifle, snapped clean in two. I didn't have time to scream. Something moved behind me. Slow, wet steps, like feet dragging through mud. I ran until my lungs burned. When I got home, I saw him. Evan was sitting on my grandfather's porch swing, gently rocking, staring into the dark forest, as if waiting for something. You left me, he whispered without looking at me. What happened to you? He finally turned his head, and for one horrible moment, mist leaked out of his nostrils and mouth, like fog trapped inside him. It didn't die, he said softly. It just needed a door. He tapped his chest, and I let it in, his neck bent at an angle I had only seen once before. The creature's silhouette, those impossible movements. It wants you next, Evan said, and he smiled. Too still, too wide, too calm. I told you, Chris. The treasure was real. My knees went weak. What treasure? Evan stood up. His shadow stretched the wrong way in the porch light. The treasure wasn't gold. He stepped forward. It was a body. Since that night, I've never believed the legend was about a portal in the mountains. The creature never needed a portal. It needed a person. And Evan let it through. But the worst part? Sometimes, when I'm lying awake in my grandfather's house at night, I hear footsteps outside. Slow, wet, breathing, right under my window, waiting for me to follow him back into the woods.